As the holidays drew to a close, my husband suddenly brought up divorce. I readily agreed and even gave up custody of our 2 children. On the night of December 28th, as Michael pushed the divorce agreement in front of me, the beef stew he loved was still simmering in the kitchen. Our 2 children were in the living room watching cartoons, their laughter seeping through the crack in the door. His expression was as calm as if he were discussing what to get at the grocery store tomorrow, not ending our 12-year marriage. "Kate, let's get a divorce. I'll take the 2 kids. The house is yours, and I'll give you another $100, 0 inches compensation," he said the words, flowing so smoothly and naturally that it was obvious he had rehearsed them many times. I picked up the pen and signed my name on the agreement without even looking at the specific clauses. Fine, all I want is my freedom. Michael was stunned. All the persuasion explanations and reassurances he had prepared were now useless. He would never know that I had been waiting for him to say those words for 3 whole years. Disclaimer: the plot of this story is fictional. Any resemblance to actual events is purely coincidental. As Kate brought the last dish to the table, the clock on the wall pointed to exactly 7 p.m. Roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, and sautéed green beans with garlic. All were favorites of her husband Michael and their children. "Dinner's ready," she called out to the living room. Leo, their 8-year-old son, and Mia, their 6-year-old daughter, raced to the table and climbed into their designated seats. Michael slowly emerged from his home office, still holding his phone, his brow slightly furrowed as he looked at the screen. "Did you wash your hands?" Kate asked the children. "Yes," the 2 children chorused. Michael sat down at the head of the table, placing his phone beside him. Kate served him a piece of chicken and then gave the children more food. She had been doing this for 12 years. It had become muscle memory. "Dad, are we going to Grandpa and Grandma's for New Year's?" Leo asked as he ate. "Yes, we'll go over on New Year's Day," Michael said, taking a bite of potato. "Did Mom buy you new outfits?" "Yes," Mia chimed in. "Mom bought me a sparkly red dress. It's so pretty." Kate smiled at her daughter. "Wear it to Grandpa and Grandma's. They'll definitely love it." The atmosphere at the dinner table was relatively harmonious. Michael asked a few questions about the children's schoolwork, and Kate reported on the progress of the holiday shopping. The children chattered about fun things that had happened at school. This was Kate's life. Married for 12 years, a stay-at-home mom for 8 years, her life revolved around her husband, children, and the house. She got up at 6 a.m. every day to make breakfast, drive the children to school, buy groceries, cook, clean, pick up the children from school, help with their homework, prepare dinner, and put the children to bed. It was a repetitive, day-after-day cycle. After dinner, Michael went into his office as usual, saying he had to deal with work. Kate cleared the dishes, and the 2 children helped wipe the table. This was a habit she insisted on cultivating, even though they often left streaks everywhere. The sound of the dishwasher filled the kitchen. Kate wiped the counters mechanically, her gaze passing through the window to the thousands of lights in the high-rises across the way. Behind each light was a family, a story. Some were happy, some were not. Most, like hers, were neither good nor bad, just getting by. "Mom, can I watch a show for a little while?" Mia ran in and asked, looking up with her small face. "Have you finished your reading homework?" "Yes," Leo helped me with the hard words. Kate dried her hands. "You can watch for half an hour. You have to take a bath and be in bed by 9 o'clock. "Okay," Mia ran back to the living room happily. Kate finished cleaning the kitchen and went to the laundry room to fold the clothes. The December wind was bitingly cold, and the towels that had been hanging on the line outside were stiff. She brought them in warm and smelling of the cold air, Michael's dress shirts, the children's fleece jackets, her own yoga pants. All the clothes were mixed together just like this family, seemingly integrated on the surface, but in reality, each had its own texture and purpose. At 9 o'clock, Kate promptly urged the children to take a bath. Leo could already wash himself, but Mia still needed help. The bathroom was steamy, and her daughter's small body was soft and warm. Kate carefully lathered her with soap. "Mom, why is Dad always in his office?" Mia suddenly asked. "Dad has to work. But Chloe's dad doesn't work at home. Chloe said her dad plays Legos with her after work." Kate's hands paused for a moment. "Every dad's work is different." Mia seemed to half understand and was soon distracted by the bubbles. After blow-drying the children's hair, telling them a bedtime story, and tucking them in, it was almost 10 o'clock. Kate gently closed the door to the children's room and stood in the hallway, taking a deep breath. Only at this time of day did she truly have her own time, even though it was only a few short hours, and even though she usually used it to tidy up the house and prep for the next day. Michael was still in his office. Light shone from under the door and she could faintly hear him talking on the phone. His tone was gentle with a hint of a smile. Not the perfunctory smile he usually had for her and the children, but a genuinely happy one. Kate stood at the door for a few seconds but ultimately did not knock. She turned and went into the master bedroom. From the bottom drawer of the nightstand she took out a journal. The black moleskin cover was worn at the edges. It was a gift from Michael in the year they got married. At the time he had said, "Katie, from now on write down whatever is on your mind in here. When we're old we can look back at it together. It will be very interesting." Kate opened the journal. It was filled with densely written words, but they were not sweet nothings but rather records of accounts, plans, and clear-headed self-dialogues. The latest page read the 19th of December 2025, 3 months left until the goal. Persevere. She picked up a pen and added a line below, "Everything is normal today. He took 2 calls tonight, avoiding me both times. Mia asked why Dad doesn't play with her. I was at a loss for words." After writing, she put the journal back in its place and covered it with a few books. Then she went to the bathroom to wash up, changed into her pajamas, and lay down on the bed. Their wedding photo still hung above the headboard. In the photo, she was 24 years old with a brilliant smile and eyes full of light. Michael had his arm around her shoulder, also looking blissful. 12 years had passed and the photo had faded just like their love. Kate turned off the lamp and lay in the dark with her eyes open. She heard the office door open, heard Michael's footsteps, and heard him go to the guest bathroom to wash up. They had been sleeping in separate rooms for 3 years. The reason was that Michael worked late and was afraid of waking her. The guest room door closed gently. Kate turned over and closed her eyes. She didn't need to check his phone to know that Michael was definitely texting some woman at this moment, maybe the one named Jessica, or maybe someone else she didn't know about. 3 years ago, she had discovered the ambiguous texts on his phone, the unfamiliar perfume on his shirt, and the sudden increase in his late nights at the office on weekends. She had confronted Michael. He had explained that it was a colleague, a work requirement, and that she was overthinking it. Kate chose to believe him, or rather, she chose to pretend to believe him. Because at that time she had no job, no income, and no way out. Her 2 children were still small, and she couldn't let them lose their complete family. But a person pretending to be asleep will eventually wake up. A year ago, she began to change quietly. She enrolled in an online accounting certification program and studied every night after her family had gone to sleep. She reconnected with her old college friends to inquire about job opportunities. She even started running on the treadmill and lost the baby weight she'd never quite shed. These changes were very small, and Michael didn't notice at all. In his eyes, Kate was still the meek and obedient housewife who couldn't do anything but take care of the children and the house. And that was exactly what Kate wanted. The sound of the wind outside the window grew louder. The weather forecast said it would snow tonight. Kate thought about the gifts she needed to bring to her in-laws' house for New Year's, the brunch she needed to prepare, and the gift cards for the kids. As she thought, she fell asleep. The next day was December 29th. Kate got up at 6 a.m. to prepare breakfast. Michael was up early for once, sitting at the dining table, looking at his phone, his expression somewhat absent-minded. "I've got all the gifts for your parents' house ready," Kate said, placing a plate of scrambled eggs in front of him. "I bought a nice bottle of scotch for your dad and a cashmere scarf for your mom. I've also prepared the gift cards for the kids." Okay, Michael said without looking up. "Did you sleep well last night?" Kate asked, pouring herself a glass of orange juice. "It was okay." Michael finally looked up at her, his eyes somewhat complicated. "Kate, tonight after the kids are asleep, let's talk." Kate's hand paused. "Talk about what?" "We'll talk about it then." Michael stood up. "I'm going to the office to take care of some things first. I'll be back this afternoon." He hastily finished his breakfast, put on his coat, and left. Kate stood by the window, watching his car drive out of the subdivision and disappear into the morning mist. She had a feeling that what was coming was finally coming. Sure enough, that night after the children were asleep, Michael knocked on the master bedroom door. He was holding a folder, his expression deliberately serious. "Sit," he said, pointing to the small armchair by the window. Kate sat down, her hands on her knees, adopting a submissive and listening posture. This was the wife posture she had perfected over many years, one that would put Michael at ease. "Kate, we've been married for 12 years, Michael began, his tone heavy. "You've worked hard all these years, taking care of the kids and the household. I know all that." Kate didn't speak, waiting for him to continue. But Michael took a deep breath. "I feel that our marriage has problems. We have nothing in common to talk about anymore. Every day, besides the kids and the house, we hardly say a word. A marriage like this is torture for both of us." Kate lowered her eyes. "So," Michael handed her the folder. "This is a divorce agreement I had drawn up. Take a look. The terms are very generous. The house is yours, and I'll give you another $100, 0 inches compensation. I'll take the 2 kids. After all, I have a stable job and income, and I can give them a better life and education." Kate took the folder but didn't open it. She had known this day would come. She just didn't expect it to be just a few days before New Year's. "Who is she?" she asked, her voice calm. Michael was taken aback for a moment. "What woman?" "The woman who made you decide to divorce." Kate raised her head and looked straight at him. "Jessica, or someone else. I don't know about." Michael's face changed slightly. "That's not important. The important thing is that we have no feelings for each other anymore. Continuing to be together will only torture each other. Kate, you're still young. With the money and the house, you can start a new life." Such familiar lines, Kate could almost recite them from memory. On TV, in movies, and in real life, when men want a divorce, they always use this set of excuses for your own good, to set you free to start a new life. "Do the kids know?" she asked. "Not yet. I wanted to talk to you first, and then tell them slowly." Michael's tone softened. "Kate, I know this is hard for you, but it's better to make a clean break. We should both pursue true happiness." Kate opened the divorce agreement and quickly scanned it. The terms were indeed generous. The house was worth about $500, 000 plus $100, 0 inches cash. For a stay-at-home mom who hadn't worked in 12 years, it was more than generous. Custody of the children went to Michael with visitation rights of twice a month, and the option to have them stay with her for a period during the summer. Alimony was a one-time payment with no further entanglement. It was very clean, very neat, very much in Michael's style. "Do your parents know?" Kate asked. "I'll explain to them," Michael said. "Don't worry, I won't say anything bad about you. I'll just say we grew apart and separated amicably." Kate nodded and picked up the pen from the nightstand. Michael clearly hadn't expected her to be so agreeable. The persuasive words he had prepared were stuck in his throat. "Aren't you going to think about it?" he asked. "Think about what?" Kate looked at him. "Think about how to win back a man who no longer loves me. Think about how to maintain a marriage that is already dead." Michael was speechless. Kate signed her name on the agreement, her handwriting neat and clear. "Michael, I have only one request," she said. "Through the New Year's holiday, we'll still act as usual in front of the kids. After the holidays, we'll tell them and go through the procedures. I don't want the children's holiday to be unhappy." Michael was visibly relieved. Of course. That's what I was thinking too." "Also," Kate added, "during this period, please continue to live at home. We can sleep in separate rooms, but don't act abnormally in front of the children." "Okay, I promise." Kate handed the signed agreement back to him. "Then that's it. You should get some rest. We still have to go to your parents' house on New Year's Day." Michael stood there with the agreement, as if he wanted to say something else, but Kate had already turned around and started straightening the duvet, a gesture of dismissal. He ultimately said nothing and left the room. After the door closed, Kate stood still for a long time. Then she walked to the closet, opened the bottom drawer, and took out the black journal. She turned to a new page and wrote the 29th of December, 2025. He proposed a divorce. I signed. The plan is in motion. The countdown begins. After writing, she put the journal back in its place, turned off the light, and got into bed. In the darkness, the corners of her mouth turned up slightly. For 3 years, this was the day she had been waiting for. On December 31st, New Year's Eve, Kate started bustling about early in the morning, putting out festive decorations, chilling champagne, and preparing the ingredients for the evening's dinner. As agreed, Michael was more attentive than usual. When he was helping to hang some fairy lights, he even took the initiative to talk to her. "The left side is a little crooked. A little higher." Kate directed Michael to adjust the position of the lights. Their hands accidentally touched and he recoiled as if he had been electrocuted. Kate, on the other hand, looked natural. "Okay, that's good." The children were playing a board game in the family room, their laughter crisp. The lively sounds of the neighbors' celebrations also wafted over. The entire neighborhood was filled with a festive atmosphere. "Mom, Grandma's on the phone." Mia ran over holding the phone. Kate took the phone. "Mom, Happy New Year's Eve. We'll be over tomorrow afternoon." "Yes, we're having dinner at my place tonight. You guys just come over." "Okay, drive safe." After hanging up, she glanced at Michael. He was looking at his phone, his brow slightly furrowed, his fingers typing quickly. It was no guess that he was explaining to that woman why he couldn't spend New Year's with her. Kate turned and went back to the kitchen to continue preparing the ingredients. The knife rose and fell on the cutting board, making a rhythmic sound. In her mind, she was silently taking stock. The accounting certification exam was in a month. She had already sent her resume to 3 companies. She had saved $15, 0 inches, a secret account, all saved little by little from the household expenses over the years. It wasn't enough, but it was much better than 3 years ago. 3 years ago, she could do nothing but cry and beg. At noon, her in-laws arrived. Michael's father was a retired history professor and his mother was a homemaker, a typical traditional family. They were quite satisfied with Kate, mainly because she managed the household well and had given them a grandson and a granddaughter. "Catherine, you've worked so hard making all this food," her mother-in-law said politely, but her eyes were critically scanning every corner of the living room. "It's my pleasure," Kate said with a smile, pouring coffee. "Dad, Mom, have some coffee." "Where's Michael?" her father-in-law asked. "He's in his office dealing with work. He'll be out in a minute," Kate said. As she spoke, Michael came out, putting on a gentle and filial mask. "Dad, Mom, you're here. Was the traffic bad on the way?" The family sat in the living room and chatted. The topics were nothing more than the children's school, work, and recent news about relatives. Kate served drinks and snacks on the side, interjecting a few words from time to time, playing the role of a perfect daughter-in-law. She noticed that her mother-in-law was wearing a new bracelet, a very nice one. "Mom, that bracelet is beautiful. Is it new?" A smug smile appeared on her mother-in-law's face. "Michael bought it. He said it's from Tiffany's. I don't know." Michael quickly chimed in, "I saw it on a business trip last time and thought it would suit Mom, so I bought it." Kate smiled and nodded, but in her heart she was calculating. That bracelet must have cost at least a few $1,000s. Michael had never bought her such expensive jewelry. For her last birthday he had given her a sweater from Kohl's and it was bought on sale online. But she said nothing and continued to peel apples and arrange the fruit platter. The New Year's Eve dinner was very sumptuous, with a full table of dishes. Kate made prime rib scalloped potatoes, roasted asparagus, and a large salad. Michael opened a bottle of red wine and poured a little for everyone. "Here's to a happy new year for our whole family, good health, and all the best." He raised his glass. Everyone clinked glasses and said, "Cheers." Kate looked at this scene and suddenly felt it was absurd. This family was clearly falling apart. Just 2 days ago, this man had handed her a divorce agreement, and now they were sitting together for a reunion dinner. But she smiled very naturally, serving her in-laws, cutting up food for the children, and topping off Michael's wine glass. Her acting was superb, flawless. After dinner, Michael played chess with his father, and his mother-in-law watched the New Year's Eve specials on TV. Kate cleaned up the kitchen. The sound of the dishwasher masked the laughter and conversation in the living room. She stood alone at the sink, wiping down the counters. "Mom, I'll help you," Mia ran in. "No need, go watch TV," with Grandma. Kate patted her daughter's head. "I want to stay with Mom." Mia leaned against the counter. "Mom, you made so much food today. Are you tired?" "Not tired," Kate said. "As long as you're happy, Mom is not tired." This was half true. She was tired, but she hadn't known what true happiness was for a long time. After cleaning up the kitchen, Kate cut some fruit and brought it out. Her mother-in-law was talking about her niece. "She's divorced and has a child. It's so hard. I tell you, women shouldn't get divorced easily. It's always the woman who suffers." This was clearly directed at Kate. In the traditional view, a divorced woman is a failure, especially a housewife with no job. "You're right, Mom," Kate agreed. "So women should have their own careers and not rely entirely on men." Her mother-in-law was taken aback, not expecting her to say that. Michael also glanced at her, his expression complicated. "Catherine has a point," her father-in-law interjected, "but taking care of the family is also an important job." Kate smiled and didn't say any more. She glanced at the clock on the wall. It was almost 11:30. Time for the countdown. "I'll get the champagne ready," she stood up. "I'll help you." Michael also stood up and followed her into the kitchen. With the door closed, only the two of them were left in the small space. "What Mom said just now, don't take it to heart," Michael said in a low voice. "I won't." Kate started getting out the glasses. "She's right. It's not easy for a divorced woman." Michael was silent for a moment. "Kate, I know I'm sorry, but feelings can't be forced." "I understand." Kate arranged the glasses on a tray. "You don't have to explain. I understand everything." Her calmness made Michael uneasy. The crying, nagging, and bargaining he had expected never happened. Kate was as calm as if she had been prepared to accept all of this long ago. "After the holidays, I'll go through the procedures as soon as possible," he said. "I won't give you less money or the house." "Okay," Kate said. "You go be with your parents. I can handle it here." Michael stood there for a few seconds and finally went out. Kate watched his back, a cold smile on her lips. He thought she was submissive, but in fact, she was surrendering. At midnight, the sound of cheers and fireworks rang out. On TV, the ball was dropping in Times Square. The children ran excitedly to the window to watch the neighborhood fireworks. Her in-laws exchanged hugs and well wishes. Michael took out some envelopes. "Leo, Mia, come get your New Year's gift." The two children ran over and took the envelopes, saying sweetly, "Thank you, Dad. Happy New Year, Dad." "And here's yours, Catherine." Michael handed Kate an envelope. Kate took it. It was of average thickness, probably a check for a few $100s, just like in previous years. "Thank you." "Open it," Michael said. Kate opened the envelope. Inside, there was a check for $5,000 and a small card that said, "For all you do." Kate understood. This was hush money, a compensation for his conscience, the price for her to divorce him peacefully and not cause trouble. "Thank you, it's too much." She handed the check back. "Keep it," Michael held her hand. "You've had a hard time all these years." His hand was warm, but Kate only felt cold. She withdrew her hand and put the check in her pocket. Then, "Thank you." This gesture completely reassured Michael. He thought that by accepting the money, Kate had accepted all the terms of the divorce. He would never know that what Kate wanted was far more than this. At 2 a.m., after seeing off her in-laws and putting the children to bed, the house finally became quiet. Michael finished washing up and hesitated for a moment. "I'll still sleep in the guest room." Good night," Kate said. She went back to the master bedroom but didn't go to sleep right away. From the depths of the closet, she took out a small fireproof box. Inside were various documents: her social security card, college diploma, professional certifications, and a few passbooks and bank cards. These were all things she had secretly prepared over the years. The diploma and certifications were her confidence, and the bank accounts were her way out. At the bottom was an employment contract she had just signed last week for an accountant position at a mid-sized firm with an annual salary of $65,000. She would start work after the holidays. The company valued her 10 years of prior work experience and her recently obtained certifications and agreed to give her a chance. $65,000. A year might be what Michael spent on business trips, but for her it was the starting point of a new life. Kate put the things back in their place and then opened her phone to check the messages in her study group. She had scored at the top of her class in the final exam for her certification program. The instructor sent her a private message asking if she was interested in pursuing a higher-level CPA license. She replied, "Thank you, I will consider it." Turning off her phone, Kate lay down. The sound of fireworks outside had become sparse with only a few sporadic pops, like the final echo of this marriage. She closed her eyes and scenes from the past 3 years flashed through her mind: the shock and pain of discovering Michael's infidelity, the despair of deciding to endure it, the calmness of making a plan, and the determination of implementing it step by step. The most difficult moments had passed. Now she just needed to follow the plan and take the last few steps. Michael didn't come home until 10 p.m. on New Year's Day with the faint smell of alcohol and perfume on him. Kate was reading a book in the living room. Without looking up, she asked, "Have you eaten?" "Yes," Michael said a little guiltily. "A client dinner. I couldn't get out of it." Kate turned a page of her book. "The children are already asleep. Keep your voice down." Michael stood in the middle of the living room looking at her calm profile. Suddenly he felt an indescribable sense of unease. This unease had started when Kate had readily signed the divorce agreement and had grown stronger with time. None of the reactions he had expected had occurred. No crying, no questioning, no bargaining. Kate was as calm as if she had known this day would come, even as if she had been waiting for it. "Kate," he began, "let's talk." Kate closed her book and looked at him. "Talk about what the divorce agreement is already signed. What else is there to talk about?" "You." Michael chose his words carefully. "Can you really accept it? I mean, the divorce and the children going with me." "What can I do if I can't accept it?" Kate retorted. "Cry and beg you to come back. Would that work?" Michael was at a loss for words. "Michael, we've been married for 12 years. I know you." Kate stood up and walked over to him. "You won't change your mind about something you've decided. Since that's the case, why shouldn't I be more dignified and save myself some pride?" What she said was logical, but Michael still felt that something was wrong. The Kate in front of him was too calm, too rational, not at all like the gentle, even somewhat weak wife he knew. "As for the children, as we agreed, we'll tell them after the holidays are over," Kate interrupted him. "During this period, I hope you will cooperate. At least in front of the children, we should still appear harmonious." I will, Michael promised. Kate nodded and turned to walk towards the bedroom. After a few steps, she turned back. By the way, as for your parents, you explain it to them yourself. I don't want to hear any gossip about me from them. I won't. I'll handle it. Kate closed the bedroom door. Michael stood in the living room, not moving for a long time. He took out his phone, wanting to call Jessica, but after thinking about it, he put it down. For some reason, he didn't want to make this call in Kate's house. In the guest room, Michael tossed and turned. He recalled Kate's changes in recent months. She had started wearing makeup and dressing up, enrolled in an online course, and would occasionally go out to dinner with friends. At the time, he thought it was a good thing. It meant that Kate had her own life and wouldn't be too dependent on him. Now that he thought about it, these changes might have been premeditated, but he quickly dismissed the idea. How could Kate have premeditated a divorce? She was a housewife. How could she live without him? He must be overthinking it. The next day, it was customary to visit one's own parents. Kate took the children back to her parents' house. Michael used the excuse of having to work and didn't go. This was exactly what Kate wanted. She needed some time alone with her parents to talk. Kate's parents lived in the old part of town. The house was not big, but it was very clean. Her father was a factory accountant before he retired, and her mother was an elementary school teacher. They were both honest and down-to-earth people. "Why are you alone? Where's Michael?" her mother asked. "He has something to do at the office and can't come." Kate put down the gifts. "Dad, Mom, I have something to tell you." Seeing her serious expression, her parents exchanged a look. They both had a bad feeling. Kate had the two children go to the den to play and then closed the living room door. "What's wrong? What happened?" her mother asked anxiously. "Michael wants a divorce," Kate said calmly. "I've already signed." The living room was completely silent. The coffee cup in her father's hand almost fell to the ground. Her mother's face turned pale. "What divorce? Why? Is he seeing someone else?" "Yes," Kate said. "It started 3 years ago. I just never said anything." "How is that possible?" Her mother couldn't believe it. "Michael seems so decent." "Mom, people change." Kate held her mother's hand. "Don't get excited. Let me finish." She told her parents everything. Her endurance for the past 3 years, the process of discovering Michael's infidelity, and the recent signing of the divorce agreement. But she concealed the part about her own preparations, only saying that she was forced to accept it. "That bastard," her father trembled with anger. "I'll go give him a piece of my mind." "Dad, don't go." Kate held her father back. "It's useless. His heart is no longer in this family. Forcing him to stay is meaningless." "Then what about you? What about the children?" her mother said, her face streaked with tears. "You haven't worked for so many years. How will you live after the divorce?" "I have a plan," Kate said. "The house is mine, and he'll give me $100,000. I can start work after the holidays. I found a job, an accounting position paying $65,000 a year." Her parents were stunned. They hadn't expected their daughter to have a plan already. "You found a job?" her father asked. "Yes, I signed the contract before Christmas." "I start next week," Kate said. "Dad, I've put all the accounting knowledge you taught me to use." Her father's eyes welled up with tears. When she was young, he had wanted his daughter to study accounting, thinking it was a stable profession. But after Kate got married and became a full-time housewife, he had always regretted it. "Good, good," her father nodded repeatedly. "It's good that you have a job. With a job, you'll be okay." "But the children are with him," Kate said in a low voice. "I've given up custody." What her mother became agitated again. "How can you give up the children? They are your flesh and blood." "Mom, what can I do if I don't give them up?" Kate smiled bitterly. "I have no job, no income. Will the judge award the children to me? It's better to be proactive and fight for better terms than to be forced to give them up in the end." She paused. "And I'm only giving them up temporarily. When I get back on my feet, have a stable income and a place to live, I'll fight for custody again. The law allows for a change in custody." Her parents were silent. They knew their daughter was right, but it was hard to accept emotionally. "You've been wronged, child," her father patted her on the shoulder. "It's all my fault for not being capable enough to support you." "Dad, don't say that," Kate shook her head. "This is my own choice. I'll bear the consequences myself. All I need is your support. Don't go and make a scene with Michael. Don't give him any leverage." Her parents finally agreed. Although they felt sorry for their daughter, they also knew that making a scene would not be good for Kate. This society is already unfair to divorced women, let alone a housewife with no job. At lunch, the two children were very happy, completely unaware of the heavy conversation the adults had just had. Kate served her parents peeled shrimp for the children and acted as usual. Only her mother would occasionally wipe away a tear, which Kate stopped with a look. After lunch, Kate took the children to a nearby park. The park was cold in winter, but the sun was good. The children ran on the grass, and Kate sat on a bench, watching them. "Mom, are you unhappy?" Mia ran over and hugged her legs. "No, Mom is very happy," Kate patted her daughter's face. "But you're not smiling," Mia said. Kate forced a smile. "How about this?" "It's fake," Mia pouted. "Mom, did you and Dad have a fight?" Children's sensitivity is beyond adults' imagination. Kate's heart tightened, but she remained calm on the surface. "No, Mom and Dad are fine. It's just that Mom is a little tired lately." "Then Mom should rest more," Mia hugged her. "When I grow up, I'll help Mom with the housework and Mom won't be tired anymore." Kate's tears almost fell. She hugged her daughter tightly, smelling the sweet scent of the child. This little life that she had carried for 9 months, how could she bear to give it up? But she had to. A temporary separation was for a longer-term reunion. "Mia, promise Mom one thing," Kate said. "What is it?" "No matter what happens in the future, you have to remember that Mom will always love you," and your brother Kate looked into her daughter's eyes. "Always and forever." Mia seemed to half understand, but she still nodded. "I will always love Mom too." Kate kissed her daughter's forehead, her heart filled with strength. For her children, she had to be strong, she had to succeed. On the way home, Kate received a message from her attorney. "Some evidence has been collected, including hotel records and credit card statements. More direct evidence is needed." She replied, "Continue. Everything must be in place by the end of the week." The street scene outside the car window flew by. Kate looked at this city where she had lived for 12 years and suddenly felt it was strange. But being a stranger was also good. It meant she could start over. From January 3rd to the 7th, life went on as usual. Michael still left early and returned late, and Kate still played the role of a virtuous wife and loving mother. But Michael felt more and more that something was wrong. Kate was too calm, so calm that it was unsettling. On the night of the 8th, Michael finally couldn't take it anymore and knocked on the master bedroom door after the children were asleep. "Kate, let's talk." Kate was reading a book. She took off her glasses. "Talk about what again?" "You." Michael hesitated for a moment. "What are your plans for the future? I mean, after the divorce?" "Find a job and start over," Kate said. "Otherwise, wait to go broke." "I don't mean that." Michael walked in and sat down on the edge of the bed. "I mean, if you need help like finding a job or—" "No need," Kate interrupted him. "I can take care of myself." Michael looked at her and suddenly realized that Kate had changed. Not her appearance, but her eyes. In the past, her eyes were always gentle, even a little timid. Now they had become sharp and determined. "Kate, do you hate me?" he asked. "Hate?" Kate laughed. "Hate is too tiring." "Michael, I don't hate you. I'm just disappointed in you and even more disappointed in myself for being so blind for so many years." These words were more hurtful than hate. Michael's face changed slightly. "I know, I'm sorry." "No need to explain," Kate said. "We've already signed the agreement. We'll soon have no legal relationship. We've had no emotional relationship for a long time. So there's really no need to explain." The distance in her tone made Michael feel very uncomfortable. He stood up. "Then you should get some rest." At the door, he turned back. "Kate, no matter what, I hope you're well." "I will be," Kate said. "Definitely." The door closed. Kate picked up her phone and sent a message to her attorney. "He's getting suspicious. Speed up the process. Also check his recent large transfers, especially to that woman." Soon the attorney replied, "I'm on it. By the way, the change in his company's shareholding that you asked me to check has a lead. 6 months ago, he transferred 10% of his shares to a shell company. The legal representative of that company is Jessica's younger brother." Kate's eyes narrowed. Michael had not only cheated, he was also hiding marital assets. This required an adjustment to her previous plan. $100,000 and a house were far from enough. She replied, "Collect all the evidence, including the share transfer documents, bank statements, and communication records. I'll need them by this weekend." Putting down her phone, Kate walked to the window. The night was dark, with a few scattered lights on the tall buildings in the distance. She remembered that night 3 years ago when she first discovered Michael's infidelity and cried all night in the bathroom. At that time, she felt like her world was collapsing, but now standing here, she only felt calm and determined. People are forced to grow. Gentleness is because there is someone to rely on. Strength is because there is no other choice. Kate had no other choice, so she had to be strong. On Friday, January 10th, Kate prepared a large table of dishes as usual. Michael also came home for dinner on time. At the dinner table, he announced, "Let's go out to eat as a family tomorrow night. I've booked a nice restaurant." "Okay," the children cheered. Kate glanced at him. Why the sudden desire to eat out? "It's the weekend and it'll be nice to do something special," Michael said, "and we might not have the chance in the future." His words were meaningful. Kate understood. He wanted to play the role of a harmonious family one last time before the divorce, perhaps for his own conscience or perhaps to leave a good memory for the children. Okay, Kate agreed. She also had her own plans. After tomorrow, everything would change. Let tonight be the last supper of this family. That night, after the children were asleep, Michael knocked on the master bedroom door again. "Still up?" Kate asked. "I want to talk to the children after dinner tomorrow night," Michael said. "It's time to tell them about the divorce." Kate nodded. "Okay, but I want to be there." "Of course," Michael said. "Kate, thank you. Thank you for your cooperation during this time." "No need to thank me," Kate said. "I'm also doing it for the children." Michael stood at the door hesitating. In the end, he only said, "Get some rest. Good night." "Good night." Kate closed the door and leaned against it. Tomorrow, everything would end, and everything would also begin. She took out the black journal, turned to the last page, and wrote the 10th of January, 2026. Ready. New life tomorrow. After writing, she closed the journal and put it in her purse. This journal, which had recorded her mental journey for the past 3 years, was her most private witness. After tomorrow, it would become the past. The next evening, Kate began to prepare for the negotiation. She changed into a new, sharp pantsuit, put on light makeup, and tied her hair into a neat ponytail. The person in the mirror didn't look like a stay-at-home mom at all, but more like a corporate executive. Michael was stunned when he saw her. "Wow. Where are you going dressed like that?" "Can't I?" Kate retorted. "No, I just think it's a bit formal for dinner," Michael said. "Today is an important day. It's good to be formal," Kate said meaningfully. Michael thought she was referring to the showdown with the children and didn't ask any more questions. He didn't know that the important Kate was talking about had a completely different meaning. At 6 p.m., the family set off for the restaurant. Michael had booked a high-end steakhouse with a private room suitable for talking. The children were very excited because they rarely came to such an expensive restaurant. When ordering, Michael was very generous, ordering the children's favorite dishes. He ordered a bottle of Cabernet for himself and also poured a glass for Kate. "It's a special occasion, have a little," he said. Kate didn't refuse. She needed a little alcohol to calm her nerves, although she was already well prepared. Halfway through the meal, Michael put down his fork and cleared his throat. "Leo, Mia, Dad has something to tell you." The children looked up at him. "Dad and Mom," Michael glanced at Kate, "we've decided to separate. From now on, Dad and Mom won't live together anymore." The private room was completely silent. Leo was the first to react. "Are you getting a divorce?" This word coming from an 8-year-old child's mouth had a surreal absurdity. Kate's heart ached, but she remained calm on the surface. "Yes," Michael said with difficulty. "But don't worry, Dad and Mom still love you. We just won't live together anymore." "Why?" Mia asked, tears welling up in her eyes. "Because." Michael didn't know how to explain. "Because your father has fallen in love with someone else," Kate calmly took over. "He has a new family outside, so he doesn't want us anymore." These words were like a bomb exploding in the private room. Michael's face turned pale. "Kate, what the hell are you talking about?" Kate took a manila folder from her purse and pushed it in front of him. "These are your hotel records with Jessica starting from 3 years ago. A total of 47 times. Do you need me to read them to the children?" Michael's face turned white instantly. He grabbed the documents, his hands trembling. You investigated me." "Of course." Kate took out another document. "These are your credit card statements. Last year alone, you spent over $50,000 on gifts for her. And this," she tapped the final document, "is the proof that you fraudulently transferred company shares to her younger brother 6 months ago." With every sentence she said, Michael's face turned a shade paler. The children looked at their parents completely confused about what was happening, but they could feel the terrifying atmosphere. "Kate, let's go outside and talk." Michael stood up, his voice trembling. "Why go outside?" Kate sat still. "The children have the right to know the truth." "Michael, you wanted a divorce. Fine, I agree. But not according to your agreement." She took out another document from her purse. "This is my divorce agreement. The house is mine. The full value of the shares you transferred, estimated at $1.2 million, is mine. In addition, you will pay $200 0 inches damages for emotional distress, and full custody of the children is mine." "You're crazy," Michael hissed. "On what grounds?" "On these grounds," Kate pointed to the evidence on the table. "On the grounds of your infidelity, on the grounds of your fraudulent transfer of marital assets, on the grounds of your attempt to deceive me and your children." "Michael, if this evidence is submitted to the court, how do you think the judge will rule? How will your investors react?" Michael collapsed back into his chair, sweat beading on his forehead. For the first time, he realized that he didn't know Kate at all. This seemingly gentle and weak woman had secretly collected so much evidence and laid such a big trap. You knew all along." His voice was hoarse. "I knew 3 years ago," Kate said. "I didn't expose you then because I had no job, no income, and no ability to raise the children alone. But now I do." She looked at the children. "Leo, Mia, Mom has to tell you, Dad made a mistake and he won't be living with us. But Mom wants you. Mom will work hard to give you a good life. Are you willing to live with Mom?" The 2 children were already in tears. Mia threw herself into Kate's arms. "I want Mommy, I want Mommy." Leo also walked over and hugged Kate's arm. "I also want Mommy." Kate hugged the children, her tears finally flowing. But these were not tears of weakness, but tears of release, tears of victory. Michael watched this scene and suddenly felt like an outsider. This family he had lived in for 12 years, these people he thought would always belong to him, had all left him in an instant. "Kate, we can talk about the terms." He tried to salvage the situation. "There's nothing to talk about," Kate wiped away her tears. "Sign this agreement. If you don't, we'll see you in court. At that time, not only will this evidence be made public, but your company's shareholders and clients will also know. Think it over." Michael knew she meant what she said. If this evidence was exposed, his career would be over. The company was trying to secure a new round of funding. If a scandal broke out at this time, everything would be ruined. He picked up the pen, his hand trembling so much that he could barely hold it. The moment he signed his name on the agreement, he felt his world collapse. Kate put away the agreement and took out another document. "This is a supplementary agreement. You will pay $3,000 a month in child support for the 2 children until they graduate from college. In addition, you can visit them once a week, but you must make an appointment in advance and get my consent." Michael signed numbly. All he wanted now was to get out of here, out of this suffocating place. "Okay, you can go now," Kate said. "The children are coming home with me tonight. I'll take them to school on Monday." Michael stood up and looked at the children. Mia hid in Kate's arms and wouldn't even look at him. Leo looked at him, his eyes filled with disappointment and anger. "Leo, Mia, Dad." He wanted to say something, but couldn't. "Let's go," Kate interrupted him. "Don't make the children more upset." Michael took one last look at them and turned to leave. The moment the private room door closed, Kate hugged the children tightly and burst into tears. This time, it was a complete release. The next morning, Kate woke up earlier than usual. She made pancakes and woke up the children. The children's eyes were still a little swollen, but they were in good spirits. "Mom, are we moving today?" Leo asked. "Soon," Kate said. "We'll stay here for a little while. We'll move when Mom finds a new house. But from today on, Dad won't live with us anymore." Mia lowered her head and said in a small voice, "I miss Dad." Kate squatted down and hugged her daughter. "I know, sweetie. When you miss Dad, you can call him or go see him on the weekend. But from now on, Mom will be the one mainly taking care of you." "Okay." Mia nodded. "Mom, will you always be with us?" Of course, Kate kissed her daughter. "Mom will always be with you." After dropping the children at a friend's house for a playdate, Kate went to her attorney's office. Sarah had already prepared the documents and was waiting for her to sign. "The divorce agreement has been notarized. This is a copy." Sarah handed her the document. "The custody change procedures are also being processed. It should be done in about a week. Michael is very cooperative." "It seems he was scared by your evidence." "He wasn't scared. He just made the most favorable choice after weighing the pros and cons," Kate said as she signed. "If it went to court, he would lose more." Sarah looked at her with admiration. "Kate, you are the calmest client I've ever seen. Many women would just cry and make a scene in a situation like this, but you knew how to collect evidence and wait for the right time." "Because crying and making a scene is useless," Kate said. "This world only sympathizes with the weak, but it only respects the strong. I don't want to be pitied. I want to be respected." After signing the documents, Kate went to see an apartment. It was in a complex not far from the children's school, a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment of 900 square feet. Although it was not big, it was clean and bright with a south-facing balcony and plenty of sunlight. "This is the one," Kate decided on the spot. "I'll come and sign the lease tomorrow." The agent was surprised by her decisiveness, but Kate had her own considerations. She needed to move out of that house full of memories as soon as possible and start a new life. Money was not a problem. The money she got from the divorce was enough for a down payment on a condo, but for now, renting was faster and easier. On Monday, Kate reported for duty at her new company. Her colleagues were all very friendly, and her boss was a woman in her 40s who appreciated Kate's competence. "I heard you were a stay-at-home mom," before the boss asked. "Yes, but I've been studying and haven't fallen behind in my profession." Kate handed over her certificates and transcripts. The boss looked at them and nodded. "Good. Our company needs someone like you with experience and ambition. Work hard and you'll have a bright future." Kate was assigned to the finance department. The work was not difficult, but she was very serious. At lunch with her colleagues, they talked about their families. Kate said, "Frankly, I'm newly divorced and have 2 children." Her colleagues didn't show any strange expressions. On the contrary, they admired her courage. A young female colleague said, "Kate, you're amazing. If I got a divorce, I wouldn't know how to live." "You learn because you have to," Kate smiled, "but if I could choose, I would still hope for a happy marriage." This was the truth. Although she was doing well now, who wouldn't want a complete family if they had the chance? It's just that some things can't be forced, so you accept it and move on. The following weekend, Michael came on time to help them move. He looked haggard, but didn't say much and silently moved boxes. The children were happy to see him and chattered around him. "Dad, will you come to see us often in the future?" Mia asked. "Yes, Dad will come every week." Michael picked up his daughter. Kate didn't disturb them and continued to unpack. At noon, she ordered pizza, and the 4 of them had their first meal in their new home. The atmosphere was a bit subtle, but it was still harmonious. When Michael was about to leave after lunch, Kate saw him to the door. He hesitated for a moment and said, "Kate, I'm sorry, and thank you." "Don't thank me," Kate said. "Just live a good life. For the children, you too." Michael left. Kate closed the door and leaned against it. This time it was a real farewell. A farewell to the past 12 years, a farewell to the weak and dependent person she used to be. "Mom, are we going to live here from now on?" Leo asked. "Yes, this is our new home." Kate opened her arms. "Come here for a hug." The 2 children threw themselves into her arms. The 3 of them hugged each other. Kate felt that this was the whole world. That night, Kate told the children a bedtime story. A new room, a new bed, a new beginning. The children quickly fell asleep with smiles on their faces. Kate sat in the living room and opened her laptop. She registered a blog called 35 and Starting Over. In her first post, she wrote about her divorce experience, her mental journey, and how she went from despair to hope. After publishing it, she closed her computer and walked to the balcony. The balcony of her new home was not big, but she could see the city lights in the distance. The night wind was cool, but Kate's heart was warm. Her phone rang. It was her mother. "Katie, have you finished moving? Was it smooth?" "Very smooth," Kate said. "Mom, don't worry, I'm fine." "That's good." Her mother's voice was a little choked. "Katie, Mom is proud of you." "I'm proud of myself too," Kate said. This was the truth. After hanging up, her phone rang again. This time it was Michael. Kate answered but didn't speak. Michael's voice was very tired. "You won. But I have a question for you. Did you really never love me?" he asked. "Were these 12 years all an act?" Kate was silent for a long time. "I did love you. Once I loved you very, very much. But love can be consumed, can be betrayed. Michael, you were the one who stopped loving first. You were the one who betrayed first. All I did was protect myself and my children." Suppressed sobs could be heard from the other end. Kate didn't comfort him, just listened quietly. Once his tears would have made her heart ache. Now they only made her feel ironic. "I'm sorry," Michael said. "I don't need your sorry," Kate said. "What I need is for you to keep in touch with the children, pay child support on time, and not disturb our lives. That is your best apology." She hung up and blocked Michael's number. From now on, they were only legally related. Other than that, they had nothing to do with each other. Back in the room, Kate looked at the children's rooms. The light from the small nightlight shone through the crack in the door, warm and reassuring. She gently closed the door and went back to her own room. On the nightstand were her professional certifications and work ID. Next to them was a photo frame of the children. In the photo, the 3 of them were smiling happily. Kate lay down and closed her eyes. Tomorrow was another new day, a new challenge, a new hope. But she was not afraid anymore, because she knew that no matter what she encountered, she could face it, she could overcome it. Because she was no longer the stay-at-home mom who depended on her husband. She was Kate, a 35-year-old single mother, an accountant, an independent woman. This was her new identity. This was her new life. And she liked it very much. When marriage becomes a cage, letting go is freedom. Giving up custody is not giving up on the children, but choosing a wiser way to protect them. A woman's true confidence is not her marriage, but her ability to survive independently. Ending a relationship is not scary. What's scary is exhausting yourself in a dead relationship.